Come take a drink.
Come take a drink. Come take a drink from a cultural libation. I'm pouring love like art of positive sensation. Change the channel to a higher vibration, including all races, no discrimination. Old and new, made clear in all situations. We're together, leaving behind no generation. Lighting the way for each other, looking out, protecting sisters and brothers.
Good evening and welcome to Fit, Fun, and Fabulosity. That was such a wonderful piece of music we just heard. It's our theme song. We hope that you will listen and you enjoyed it. And thank you for tuning in with us tonight. I am Yemaja Jubilee, your host for this show. And for the next 6 weeks, we'll be here with a guest to help you become more fit, more fun, and most of all, be more fabulous in your life. Now, there's one thing, I have a request that I would like for you all to do, and that is to take a breath in and breathe in with me and let it out. Long and slow. And know that there's one breath that breathes us all. And by mere fact that we just took a breath together, it brings us together as one. Breath is about living and moving and having your being in something bigger than what you are. That's what life is also about. Life is about moving and living from the inside out. Moving and living from the inside out, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And today we will talk to our special guest that will help to empower you and own your own magnificence and your own beauty from inside out. On this show this week, we will meet each week we will meet people who embody fabulosity. And there will also be from week to week an expert who will give you some information on how you can become more fabulous than you already are in your present life. And I guess you're wondering, well, what is she talking about? What is fabulosity? Well, I have developed a fabulosity checklist, and I'm going to read to you some of the things that makes a person fabulous. And I'm sure that you'll recognize yourself in some of these. A fabulous person is in charge of their own life. They have their own voice. And then most of all, they're comfortable in their skins. And fabulous people choose to see the beauty and good in others, in the world, and most of all, themselves. They've developed their own sense of personal style. They love themselves, they value themselves, and they appreciate the uniqueness that makes them who they are. Also, a fabulous person that has lots of fabulosity has joy and has a sense of abundance that they give away to others. They also are open to other points of view, and they know how to express themselves in any situation. On that note, today we have with us, our guest today is Dawn Flores. Dawn is an artist. She's also a writer and a dancer. She's also created these wonderful Juno cards here. They're the Juno cards, which she'll talk about a little bit later. And she wrote this book, a butterfly book, which is a really lovely piece of art. And this other book called The Songs of
Kuan Yin.
Kuan Yin. I didn't want to mispronounce it, all right? And one of the reasons why we wanted Dawn on our first show is because Dawn embodies fabulosity. And from the first time that I met her, because we collaborated on a dance a while back.
We did.
And we did a great job together working on it.
We did.
And Dawn is also, she works with Beyond Bobby as a collaborative effort with Susan Singer, who is a local artist here in the city. And y'all just came off a very special run of events.
Yeah, we did a 7-week performance series. It's the 4th year that we've done it. And I'm one of the principal organizers. I'm really privileged to be able to work with Susan Singer and mentor other women in finding their own voice and coming to the stage, bringing their gifts to fruition.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we were reading up about you, how you have mentored so many women into owning and being in their bodies and being able to express their sexuality in a way that is healthy and whole. That's one of the things that you do well too as well.
Yes, I do. I teach goddess dance, and I came to that through Unity of Richmond. I started taking belly dance at the age of 45, and it was extremely empowering for me, and I was so enthusiastic about it that the ministers at church gave me opportunity to teach dance. And right from the beginning, I felt a really strong sense of community, and I intuitively knew how to help women move to be more comfortable and put them at ease.
Yes. But the question that I have for you is, what makes your life fabulous?
That's a really great question. I think my life is really wonderful because I have the opportunity to express myself creatively in so many ways and to collaborate with so many people. I really do feel very free. I do feel empowered. I'm still working on a lot of stuff, but aren't we all?
Yes.
And I have the things that I do that help me stay centered and focused and live with integrity. One of the things I do on a weekly basis is take a long bath and take care of myself.
Wonderful.
So I practice self-care.
Yes.
Another thing I do is I try to spend as much time outside as I possibly can.
Well, that's really great, because one of the things that I found is being close to Mother Earth and grounding yourself also allows you to be centered and focused when you go out into the world when everything else is going on. So I see you use that practice as well.
Yes, I do. And I think it also helps me keep from being lonely, because we have so much technology, we have so much pulling our attention all the time, and you can be in the midst of a crowd of people and still feel disconnected. But when I spend time outside, then I don't feel alone. I feel real grounded. And I connect with the wonders of the physical earth.
Yeah, Mother Nature itself is very nurturing.
Yes.
And one of the things also too that I know about you is that you live from your heart. And you talked about integrity. You live from your heart, which also makes you fabulous.
Thank you, Yemaja. What a compliment coming from you, and what an honor to be the first guest on your show also. I wanted to thank you.
Thank you. We're so glad to have you. Another question that I have for you, Dawn, what are some of the challenges and struggles that you have faced into being comfortable in your own skin? I know you teach others, but what are some of the challenges that you faced yourself?
Well, that's a really interesting question. Growing up, I had a really nice figure when I was young, and I got a lot of attention for that.
Okay.
And for me to start dancing, and because I was very self-conscious, I didn't want people looking at me. So it was a big deal for me to start dancing and allow people to look at me and not be ashamed of how I looked.
Okay.
So that was really liberating for me.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was liberating for you. So, in today's world, with a lot of us women, including myself, we come up with what the outside world says you ought to be, the opinions of others, and then a lot of us live our lives, and at one point in my life I did too, measure by what the scale says to us, or, and then we have all these magazines that have pictures on them about how you ought to be, and I wanted to ask you, how did you feel about what importance do you think?
Well, what shifted for me was when I started dancing, and I had to think about these things. And what I started doing was asking my students not to talk about their bodies.
Okay.
Because when they would come in, if they were self-conscious, that's the first thing women start doing, is apologizing for the way that they look.
Okay.
And I asked them to stop talking about their bodies, stop judging their bodies, stop judging their movements, and just be in their body and enjoy themselves and have fun. And when I asked them to do it, I realized how much I talked about my body.
Okay, all right.
And I started to release that habit. And it was really helpful to me. And what shifted for me was I realized my body is nobody's business.
Your body is nobody's business.
It's nobody else's damn business.
I tell you.
And we live in a culture that has absolutely no boundary around other people's bodies. We turn on the TV, we look at magazines, everybody's constantly talking about their bodies or other people's bodies.
Well, most of the time, if you gather with a group of women, the first thing they come up to talk about is your weight, or,
Yes.
or what I can't eat, or what I can't do anymore, or what is going to be perceived of me if I do this. That's the topic of conversation. And I think that it takes away from a woman's owning their power, because they give their power away in those instances.
And it's a tremendous waste of energy.
Yes. So, and on that note, well, what brings you joy? What comes into your life to make it fun feel? What do you do for fun?
Well, I guess I work a lot. My creativity brings me the most joy. When I'm writing, when I'm dancing, when I'm painting, when I have a creative breakthrough and things just come together in ways that I didn't think possible.
Yes.
That really brings me the most joy in my life.
And one of the other things that I know from having known you, that you give in our spiritual community, have a spiritual community that is very, very supportive. As you going back to what you were saying before, Unity of Richmond.
Right.
That really supports people being creative and being their own uniqueness, which makes them fabulous.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I feel very nurtured at Unity of Richmond. I like being able to believe whatever I want to believe and go into a spiritual community and being loved unconditionally no matter what, and exchange ideas and thoughts. So that's one way that I get support. The other way that I get support is through the Juno cards that I've written.
So would you explain to our viewing audience exactly how they play a role in being fabulous?
I would love to, because this really is my foundation. I found the power of working within a group many times, but there was always some things that didn't exactly work perfectly for me. And it was in 2002 I started writing these. I published these in 2004. So I made rules so that everybody's safe, so that nobody is in charge of the group, so that people aren't giving advice, so no one takes the role as leader, so that it's all co-leading.
Okay.
And there's a program guide in here, so you can do this in a group of 4 people.
Okay.
You can do them on your own.
Okay.
And do one card at a time.
So anybody could use these cards.
Anybody can use
these cards. Yes.
You can sit down and read the whole deck, and that's always really spiritually fulfilling. Or you could have a support group, and there's 52 cards, and they all have assignments on them, and they have little essays written on them. Because they're all essentially about releasing the ego, they dovetail each other and inform each other.
What they say about ego edging God out?
Right.
Yes.
So some of them, I've used these cards within a support group 4 times for 4 years.
Okay.
If you gather together 4 people and you meet every 28 days, you takes 13 meetings to go through the entire deck. There's 52 cards.
Okay.
So you learn from doing 13 cards, and you learn from witnessing and watching the other people fulfill their card. So it's a very efficient way, and it's a really good format for spiritual growth. And then you have the support of the group with you, holding you accountable to yourself. Because sometimes you can't do the hard thing for yourself, but when you have unconditional love and support and somebody to answer to, sometimes you can do those hard things. And that's been my experience.
Well, that's been my experience as well, about when you're on a path and when you're on the journey and enjoying the process of being on a journey, you have to have support. And you can't.
You do.
You have to have support, and you can find it in different areas, sectors in the community, or building new friends, or bridging a gap and just going someplace totally different with different kinds of support groups, because I find that also helps. So what has been one of the most important venues of support for you, for yourself personally, to help make your life fabulous?
These cards, without a doubt, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So also, what was some of the information that you would tell our viewers, giving them a piece of information on how they could make their life more fabulous?
Oh. What a challenging question.
Yes.
I don't really like giving other people advice. I do just like to tell people what I have done.
Okay, share your experience, strength, and hope then.
Yeah.
Share your experience, strength, and hope on, because life is a journey.
Yeah.
And life is a continuation of continuing to explore, continue to evolve, continue to emerge, and having a desire to want to better your life.
Yeah.
So with that, it's a lot of work.
It is. It can be. So my experience has been the most difficult, painful, challenging things are the things that transformed me. Those are the things that when I did the work to go through them with a clean heart, with an open heart, with a forgiving heart, that they delivered to me gifts beyond measure.
Well, that's what makes you fabulous, Dawn, because a lot of people go through life, from my experience, and they have all these struggles and obstacles that come into their way. And what they do is they get into fear, doubt, and worry.
Yes.
And they do not rely on something greater than themselves or see the gift that is in the mix with all the
Right.
obstacles. So when you become a person that's on a journey and you're evolving, I was at a conference with Reverend Michael Beckwith last week, and he was talking about the same thing, about the challenges being gifts. You got to unwrap the package.
Oh,
you have to go
yeah.
soul searching and see what's in it for you, because it always ends up taking you to another level. Have you found that to be true in your life?
Over and over and over again. Absolutely.
Wonderful, wonderful. That is so wonderful. So what are some of you have any other hobbies or anything that you do? Because that's also a part of being fabulous, is having a holistic life, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So we look at it that way as well. To make up your uniqueness, you need a holistically balanced life.
I do. Yes. So, well, my kids keep me nice and balanced.
So you have kids?
I have two. They're getting big. I can't say little ones. An 11-year-old boy
Okay.
and a 15-year-old girl.
Okay.
And
Teenager.
Teenager, yes.
Yes.
And both my kids are intelligent, compassionate, creative, caring people that I'm really proud of.
Wonderful. Well, that's what makes life really interesting, when you have a family that supports you, you have a community of other people that you have, friendships, or however you make the connection across the community to support you in becoming who you are.
Yes.
So what would you say is your most unique quality that makes you fabulous?
My enthusiasm.
Wonderful. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. See, that's one of the reasons why we wanted you to come, because we have seen you in action. You not only talk the talk, you walk it.
I try.
Yes. And a lot of people now need the examples of people that are living from their heart with integrity and have the joy that you have, because it just resonates with you through your smile and all the things that you do. Because I've been around you for quite a few years now.
Yes.
And we've gotten to know each other. And one of the things, like I said before, that brought us together was our love of dance, being able to dance. And you are so creative. And I too love the creative juices flowing, because to me that's a part of being fabulous as well. And when you can work with people such as yourself, it enhances, a lot of time between women there's competition.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have you ever had that to happen?
Oh, growing up, I was terribly, terribly competitive, because I was a painter, and it kind of comes with the territory, kind of comes with art class in school. There's a scarcity consciousness in art, the starving artist mentality, and, there's only so many scholarships and there's only so many awards. So, and I have a big ego, that I am constantly taming. So growing up, I had a very, very hard time with competition around art and around other things too. So that was something I really had to work on and overcome, and start seeing all women as my allies.
Yes. And see, that's from experience that I have. That's what makes life really, really fulfilling, when you can drop the ego and not be competitive with other women, but see them as bringing, because we all are different, and we all have something different that makes us fabulous. you know, there's no set definition, although we read our checklist here with some things that were listed as suggestions for being fabulous. Your uniqueness also makes you fabulous.
Yes.
And how you express yourself. So you are very unique in the way that you express yourself through all the writing, and you even wrote a play.
I did.
And tell us a little bit about the play.
It's a musical. I took a award-winning novel by Kristen Weber, and I took an award-winning CD by the musician Alyssa Feynman. And the book is called Circle of Mysteries, the Women's Rosary Book. And the CD is called Closing the Distance, Prayers, Poems, and Love Songs. And it was done by a woman. It's mostly in Hebrew. It was done by a woman who was Jewish. And the book goes through the mysteries of the Rosary through the voice of three women: a modern-day American woman, Mary, Mother of God, and the feminine voice of God. So I took the music and I wove it into the play. There's 12 songs on the CD, and I put 11 songs into the CD, and I wrote a 12th one myself. Plan to use the other one for Curtain Call. But it's a women's passion play set to contemporary belly dance with ethnic
belly dance. Yeah,
yes,
belly
with
dance.
ethnic world rhythm.
That sounds interesting, Dawn.
I think it's the new modern Jesus Christ Superstar.
Okay.
The women's version.
The women's version. That sounds so good. So we've talked about your creativity. We've talked about the ways in which you express yourself through your writings.
Oh, and I teach art. I also teach painting, I teach watercolor, colored pencil, and acrylics.
So where do you do that?
I teach nationally. I travel to Wisconsin in the summertime, and I go to different art schools there because that's where I'm from. And during the year, I travel all over the state of Virginia.
Okay.
I teach with statewide media of the Virginia Museum of Fine Art. I also teach at the studio school. And I really, really love teaching painting. One of the things that I do, we were talking about competition before, one of the things that I do with my students on the first day of class is I get them to all talk about their experience with art so that they understand that they're not all on the same level, they don't all have the same intention, and that they don't need to compare themselves to each other. And as soon as they understand that, they relax.
Well, how old are the people that you use?
Between 16 and I think the oldest person I taught painting to was 88.
Wow.
A lot of my students are retired.
Okay.
The thing I hear most often is, I haven't painted for 30 years. And a lot of times there's a lot of pain in that revelation. Art is really important to people, and it's painful for them that they somehow didn't manage to find time to do it for 30 years. So I feel really privileged to be able to help them reclaim that part of their creativity.
So you're really giving in everything that you put your hands on, you give a part of your essence to people. You're authentic with them. And to help them to bring out whatever is inside of them.
Yes, it's really rewarding seeing students make huge breakthroughs in their thinking and in their art, because they usually go hand in hand.
So do you have a set fitness routine that you usually utilize for taking care of your body? How do you take care of your body?
Oh, well, I teach goddess dance, and we didn't talk about what that is exactly. It is a combination of yoga for stretching and toning, Bollywood, which is cardio and makes you just very happy, and then belly dance, which tones all your muscles and is excellent for your pelvic floor. We also do mudras, which are hand gestures accompanied with breath work, and you get immediate results after 3 minutes.
So if someone wanted to come and take your class, how would they get in contact with you to do this?
My Goddess Dance website, it's kind of a long URL, but it's goddessdancesacredmovement.com, and all the information is on there. And on the contact page of that website, you can also find a link to my art website, which is dawnflores.com, a link to the Juno cards, which is thejunocards.com, and a link to a website about the musical, which is circleofmysteries.com.
So with all these different hats that you wear, Dawn,
it's a lot of
you
stuff.
said that's a lot of stuff going on. So where is time spent for your family time with all? See, I find that most women most women sometimes do a lot of things for other people, but nurturing yourself. I know you talked about going out in nature.
Yeah.
One of the things you talked about. So how else do you nurture yourself?
Well, you asked me a question about family time in there too. My kids are artists too, so they're with me all the time. I take them with me to Wisconsin. This summer my daughter's taking the art camp that I'm actually teaching in Green Bay, and it's the art camp that I went to when I was a teenager. So that's
so you're teaching something that you went through as what a unique experience that is.
It was really transformative for me. So I want to go back there and tell the handful of kids, I was just like you once, and these are the things that I did. And my daughter's going to be there with me when I teach.
What a great bonding activity between you and your daughter.
Yeah, and the first time the reason why I took dance class in the first place was because of my daughter Maya. She had been taking ballet lessons in the basement of this woman's home, and I wanted her to step up and go to the Latin Ballet of Virginia, and she didn't want to because she didn't want to do the performance on the big stage. And I said, if you take ballet and do the recital, I'll take belly dance and I'll do the recital. So my very first big recital was at the age of 45, on the same night that my daughter had her very first big recital.
So that was really big, Dawn.
Yeah, and that was bonding. And then my son was 3, and we signed him up for capoeira. And he was really shy, so I took him. I went on stage with him too. And when he was doing his dance, it was time to come off. He wouldn't get off the stage. I had to grab his feet and pull him off.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, Dawn, it's been so great having you, and thank you for coming and being a part on our first show.
My absolute pleasure. I wish you lots of luck.
Thank you so much.
And you have so much to share with an audience, so the audience is lucky to have you.
Thank you so much. And we're going to take a break right now, and we'll be back in a few minutes with our next guest.
The day began quietly across the room. To you they swam. You had no idea of my little wing charms, floating round your head until the sun went down. I've been blowing kisses since the day began. I've been blowing kisses like a fool. Kisses since the day began, quietly across the room. To you they swam. You had no idea of my little wing charms, floating round your head until the sun went down. I've been blowing kisses since the day began. I've been blowing kisses like a fool.
Chirp, chirp, chirp. That sure looks like smoke. I'd usually be going pretty crazy right now with some impressive beeping noises designed to wake even the most sound sleeper. Only problem is, my battery is really, really low. In fact, it's almost dead. It's a shame, really, because all you have to do is check me once a month and give me a new one if need be. That's it. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, I really wish you could have heard my beeping. I was always a good beeper.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Yeah, I just picked her up. We should be there in 20 minutes.
Who is it? Oh, it's him. Where is he?
I know. Yeah.
Look at those numbers. Woo! Look at those numbers! Yeah! Yeah! Oh, that's success, baby! Yeah! Can you believe we get paid to do this? It's only Monday. It's only Monday.
Excited about what you do? Well, pass it on. As a Junior Achievement volunteer, you can bring your enthusiasm to the classroom and give a few kids a little something extra to get excited about their future. Share a little something of yourself. Be a JA volunteer.
Welcome back to our show, Fit, Fun, and Fabulosity. And we're going to keep rolling, and we have our next guest who is going to be with us today. And she says that she rocks and she rolls through her life. And that's what we love about Deborah Woodward. And it's such a pleasure.
It's so great to be
here to have you with us today.
Thank you.
And I just want our audience to know, we want to wish Deborah, this is Deborah's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. We want to wish her a happy birthday today because she took time out, especially to come and do this with us today, celebrating her birthday. And
it's such a pleasure.
It's such a pleasure. Yes. So, Deborah, you quit your job and decided to go to a whole new, different direction in your life. Tell us what happened.
It's a story that I love to tell over and over again because I had done yoga when I was in college, and I had done it for 3 or 4 years. And then when my husband and I married, we started renovating houses in addition to our full-time jobs.
Okay.
So the yoga faded into the background. And then fast forward a couple of decades, and suddenly the poses that I had done years before started appearing one at a time. So suddenly all dozen poses that I used to do and love, I remembered, and I started doing them again. And about the same time, I had a friend who was teaching meditation, and she asked me to be a part of her meditation circle. And she started telling me about this style of yoga that she thought I would really like. And she said, it's blanket yoga. And my life was full with my work and caring for my parents. And so I said, I'll get to it. And then one day she came to me and said, look, there's going to be this 4-day workshop. Just come and take it. So I took it, and I'd done the yoga years before, and I had loved it and gotten so much out of it. And I got even more out of this.
Wonderful.
So the next day when I was back at work after the workshop, I was sitting in front of my computer, and I went, oh my God, I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going to go teach this yoga.
That's just fabulous. It just has a little fabulous.
Yes.
So I see that we have a call on hold. We're going to take a call here. Caller, are you there? Caller seems to have disappeared. Can you please call us back? We welcome your calls. But anyway, that's such a lovely story to share with our viewers because it shows you that it's never too late to do the things that bring you joy.
It is not. And I was in my early 50s when I made that shift. And I had been working as a writer and an editor for 35 years. And, at the time it certainly felt like I was jumping off a cliff.
Okay. So we're going to call back. Hello, this is Fit, Fun, and Fabulosity. Do you have a question, caller?
Yeah. Is there a website for this?
For the show?
Yes, ma'am.
You can go with that information. You can call the TV station. We have a Facebook page. If you go to Cultural Libations on Facebook, you will get all the information.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling.
Sure thing.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, Deborah, back to you and this fabulous life that you lead. So how did you told us the story about how you decided to teach yoga. Tell us about the style of yoga that you teach us and how it enhances being fabulous.
Mm-hmm. The style of yoga that I teach is called Svaroopa Yoga.
Svaroopa Yoga.
And it's a Sanskrit word that means your essential nature, who you really are. And the reason I fell in love with the style of yoga is because it uses blankets to support your body. So instead of holding tension in your body or straining while you're in a pose, you are so supported in a pose that your body can immediately open to it. And with that, you really begin to, tight muscles begin to release layer after layer.
Okay.
So aches and pains begin to dissolve.
Aches and pains dissolve?
Yeah, yes. And along with that, you start to dissolve what's held in those layers of tension and pain in the muscles. So all the frustrations, the fears that that cause those aches and pains also begins to dissolve and disappear. And you start resting more and more in who you really are, which is joy. Which is joy. Which is ease.
Ease.
Which is playfulness.
Playfulness. I like
Yes.
that. I like that word.
Yes.
Playfulness. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's one of the things that I find about the personality that you have, because I always call you beloved, because I feel that you exude that feminine side of the essence of all that there is, from an inside out way.
Yemaja, thank you.
And I found also too with you, you have your own way of being in the world with the softness that makes your life fabulous. That makes your life one that I would say that there's so many examples for other people to follow in order to have a fabulous life.
You know, for someone who used to be a workaholic, for someone who used to push and strain through life, for me to find through this yoga that I can really rest in myself, and that there is such power in our gentleness and our softness. Life just opens up to you, and there's this beautiful flow, and it's there for everybody.
And it's there naturally. It's just that we close ourselves down by all that's going on around us, that's going on outside of us, and we forget to focus inside, because that's where the power, that's where really true power lies.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Our true essence is where inside of us, and when we live from inside out, we can claim that softness.
Yes.
We can claim who we really are,
Mm-hmm.
and bring it forth to everybody. And that's what I see you doing on a daily basis in your life.
Thank you. Thank you.
So where do you teach? Where do you teach, Deborah? Tell us about where you teach.
I teach 2 classes, Monday classes, at the Unity of Richmond.
So what time are your classes?
Church, and they are 9 o'clock in the morning and 6:30 at night. And I teach 6 classes a week in different locations. So people can just go to my website and look at the schedule. The website is www.easyinyourbones.com.
I like that, easyinyourbones.com.
And that's what we all want to be, is that easy.
And so do you find that this type of yoga that you teach is appropriate for all different ages, or is more good for...
You know, in order to teach yoga, you really need to be certified for appropriate age groups.
Okay.
And so in the style that I teach, the Svaroopa, I am teaching people who are in their 30s to their 80s.
Wonderful.
Somebody who wanted to teach children would need special certification for that.
Well, that's one of the things that I like about the style of yoga that you teach, is because I've seen people in your class who were saged individuals, I'm going to say saged individuals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't have to just go like a flow yoga. You stayed in a pose for a long time, and it's very relaxing. I've done your class before, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
And it's no pressure on you to have to get into these postures and get in a pretzel.
The point is not to be in pretzel poses. The point is not to be in pretzel poses. The point is to rest in yourself.
Rest in yourself.
And you're bringing the body into different positions, alignments, and with certain adjustments, getting releases so that as you rest in yourself, you become more and more anchored there. And you're right with what you said earlier about how we live so much from external distractions, so that the mind just keeps churning. And we have what yoga calls a monkey mind.
Monkey mind, yes.
That's just jumping all
How
the time.
well do we know that one?
Right. And it's just engaged in the externals. And when we begin to rest in ourselves in the poses, that begins to give you a taste of who you really are. And as you as you are willing to explore that more and more deeply, then you discover the limitless magnificence that is really there.
Okay, well, I see we have a call on hold, so we're going to see what this caller wants to ask us. Okay, hello? No call. Okay, we just go back to our conversation. Oh, here we go. Hello, hello, caller. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Yemaja.
Yeah.
Hey, Deborah, how are you tonight?
I'm good.
Hello.
I would like to ask Deborah a question.
Okay.
Sure.
Deborah, your type of yoga, how is it, would you recommend it for people who have had surgeries on the back and maybe, arm or neck surgeries? Because I know you say it's not the pretzel type, but I'm just wondering would you suggest this for people who've had surgery, different types on the body?
Yes, absolutely. Once your doctor gives you the okay for normal daily activities, then it's fine to come into a yoga class. Sometimes we find with surgeries like a hip surgery that the doctor might recommend not moving the leg in a lateral position or a medial position, but that's something that we can easily work with. And I have worked with many people who, have come after the surgeries to regain that strength and stamina and flexibility that they're looking to reestablish.
Does that answer your question, caller?
Yeah. Can I ask one more question?
Sure, shoot.
Yes. Being a lady of the golden age and going through menopause, I understand that I have a joy for life also, but I've noticed as I've gotten older that my drive and joy has gone down, and instead of taking pills or anything like that, I don't want that, and I'm just wondering if the yoga would help, your type of yoga would help with that. I'm basically a fun-loving, I love the world, I love the earth, I love joy, I just love life itself.
Wonderful.
But I have times when these things just leave me now, and I get this little sadness or whatever, and I'm just wondering if a constant class would bring that back where I won't have weeks of having a nice life and then I get sad all of a sudden. I'm so tired of this. I'm in the prime of my life now, and I want to stay there where I am, where I used to be, not just sometimes.
So you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, right?
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired. So Deborah,
so yes. Because the yoga is integrating body, mind, and spirit, yes, it can help you to move through the sadness that you're experiencing. And I'm not saying that, that it's a change, that it's a move from point A to point B, because as you release layers of tension, sadness, anxiety, whatever it is that we're experiencing inside, you may move forward and then move back in it. It's a process. I can tell you that the degree of joy and playfulness and, I'm trying to think of the other words, ease and focus and steadfast calm that I have discovered, and I am in my 60s now. I can't wait for what comes next.
You look wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, caller, and one of the things that I would like to add to Deborah's answer to that question is, one of the things that happen as we age, we tend to isolate more, all right? And I find for me in my life, as I go through this aging process, getting out and being around people that have what I want, that have that exuberance, that have that joy that you say you're missing in your life, you can go and be around people and it's just like fire. You'll catch it. You'll catch that fire, because I've been around Deborah for quite some time, and so what I do is I surround myself with people that have what I want,
Yeah,
and
that sounds
Yeah, and also going to her class, you're going to find that the people that come to Deborah's class, they are wonderful people. I know a lot of them. And also, Deborah has a new class that's coming up. Tell them about the new class that you have coming up in meditation as well.
I do. I have started to teach Learn to Meditate classes. And the classes are in a series of 3 classes that are 2 hours each. So I'll be teaching it again in July 12, 19, and 26.
And this is
so
where?
Saturday mornings from 10 to noon.
Okay.
And they're going to be held at Unity of Richmond.
Well, Carla, if you'd like more information, you can go to her website and you get her contact information, and then you can be back in touch with her and come out and join the class.
Okay, thank you very much. And you all have a very blessed evening.
And thanks for watching us.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching us, okay?
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye. Wonderful. That was a very nice call.
It sure was.
Okay, we have another call here, so let's go to the lines, Deborah. Mm-hmm. This is Fun Fab-U-losity. Yemaja, how can we direct your call?
Good afternoon, ladies.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
The program is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I was listening to the last caller.
Yes.
She was speaking about various things, but she wasn't going too deep. See, a lot of seniors, it's not only physical, but it's mental. And a lot of their friends and things have changed. And they really need to kind of get, with some people that they can really talk with or be with.
And that's what we were just saying. And that's what I was just saying, caller. That you should get out and be among people that have what you want. Where are you
going, darling, in Richmond, Virginia?
Yes. Where are you going?
Somebody got to help them. This is Richmond. This is not D.C. or New York. And a lot of them don't even have transportations. See, this is kind of confounding. And they don't go in to tell you the whole resource of the situation. But all of that, we just need to feel more about one another. All of us, because we are all just women. Well, all of us are God's women.
Well, one of the things that you're saying that is so very true, we started at the top of our show was a breath, okay? We took a breath and we took it together, and we reminded our viewing audience that we all are connected through that breath, because there's one breath that breathes us all. And in doing that, I hear what you're saying about this being Richmond, Virginia. And I have lived many places. All the things that you've talked about depends upon the persons. I think you have to reach out to other people and ask for help. Okay, ask them for help. Okay?
That's right. But see, you must understand that if they are now in their late 50s or 60s or had surgeries or hip, it's an isolation.
Yeah, isolation.
Here.
Yeah, isolation.
You understand what I'm saying?
I got you.
Darling, I'm talking about the core. The core of this thing is about love. That's what she's looking for. They're looking for love. So I'm going to hang up.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you for
calling.
calling.
Thank
Call
you.
us again. Wonderful. And she made a very valid point, but I feel like also going back to where you are, people have to, we realize that we can't solve all the problems sitting here having a discussion, and we realize that there are more deeper emotional issues that come as you age.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't have the coping mechanism to doing it. But what I heard you saying and what we're saying is there are avenues that you can go through, that you can be with, and coming to a class and getting out would help some with that isolation and would help some with that mental processes, because you're going deep inside of yourself and working on things.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that, and I'm so glad she called, because we've been talking about the physical poses.
Yes.
And yet there is so much more to yoga.
Yes.
And in the Learn to Meditate classes, we are not just learning how to meditate, we are also learning how to chant, which is singing a song of God. It's I love to refer to chanting as singing yourself home.
Singing yourself. What a
Singing
nice
yourself
analogy
home.
that is. That sounds sweet. Yes.
And so, all of yoga, all of these Svaroopa Yoga would be studying the ancient texts, the chanting, the meditating, and doing the poses, and doing the breathing. Just the breathing itself is so deeply healing. In fact, it's the first thing that we teach. When I see people privately in yoga therapy sessions, the breathing is the first thing that we teach when they're in a lot of pain, because it does such a great job of relieving the pain.
So what was the caller was talking about people that are in pain. How are they supposed to breathe? What is the right way to breathe, Deborah?
There are many yogic practices with the breath, and I'm glad that you said that too, because with those practices, you really need to be with a master in order to do some of the more intricate kinds of breathing. So you can't just walk off the street and start to do the bellows breath and think that you're going to be fine, because you can actually bring up latent stuff, latent diseases or mental or emotional conditions. In the style of yoga that I teach, we teach an ocean-sounding breath that is very universal. It's very benign. We know that it's a style of breathing that you can do that is very beneficial. So in order to do it, you can, just with a gentle cough, so that you can feel yourself clearing your throat. You can feel the muscles lining the inside of your throat.
Yes.
And start to use those very gently. So you're not using neck muscles, you're using those inner throat muscles. And as you do that, as you hear that ocean-sounding breath.
And what's the name of that? It's a special name for that type of breath.
It's called the Ujjayi breathing.
Yes, yes.
Which means the victorious breath.
Yes, the victorious breath.
Because it helps you to overcome pain
Yes.
and fatigue and stress and so many things. So it's one of the things that you experience in every class, every yoga class that you're in.
Well, I know that how many years now you've been teaching this type of yoga?
10 years.
10 years. So you've seen a lot of different types of ailments that people come in with pain or.
Yes.
And I remember one Sunday that Reverend Peggy was in church and she almost fell, and she attributed her not hurting herself to having been in your classes because she was able to know how to fall. Because a lot of people as they age don't know how to get up and get down and cushion their falls. But she attributed it to having been in your class that she didn't hurt herself.
Yes, absolutely. And we have many stories from other people who have taken the yoga and from other yoga teachers who have been in car crashes and have experienced very little energy because their bodies were relaxed. Just because of the way that they were. Because they live with so much less tension in their bodies.
Yes.
They found that they weren't, tensing for the crash, but rather as they went through it, they just sort of rolled with it. And so the degree of injury that they experienced and their rate of recovery is so much faster.
Wonderful. That's such a beautiful way to be in the world, when you're comfortable in your own skin and in your body, because what I hear you saying is, in the type of yoga that you teach, that you can learn. I just love the title of Easy in Your Bones. When you say easy, to me, I can visualize being easy in my body and being connected from within so that I can live without.
Yes.
Yes. To be able to go through life like it, and being centered in who I am. And we all are just such magnificent and blessed beings,
We are.
And I feel like sometimes people tend to forget that as they age, thinking that it ought to be quote unquote this way or quote unquote the other way. So now we're going to go to and allow you to give us a demonstration that I know you prepared for us on how to have good posture.
Yeah,
because you said that was one of the most important things as well.
It is.
Yes. So we're going to have Dee come join us. I want to introduce you all to Dee.
Let's see.
Mack.
Let me come around here.
She is one of my traveling companions and a member of the Slammin' Jammin' Richmond Rockettes. I work with Dee on training, personal training. She's been with me for a long time, and she always goes with me around. So Deborah, show us what a correct posture is supposed to look like.
Okay, so Dee, if you were to come to me for like a private yoga therapy session, and you had complaints about back pain, like so many people do, one of the things that I would show you is how to stand. Because usually what we do is we use muscles to hold ourselves up, and those muscles are tight. And we forget that the bones are there to support us. So when you begin to shift your awareness and allow your weight to start to settle in your feet, it becomes a very different experience. And so the first thing that I would do is ask you to bring your feet a little closer together. Great. And just start to become aware of your hips, become aware of your leg bones, and allowing all that weight to begin to settle into your feet. Half of it into your heels, and the other half around the outsides of your feet and across your ball joints. And the other thing that I would ask you to do is, I'm going to come in front of you. You know, most of the time, for so many of us, there is this bit of sway back. And all of the weight of the torso ends up resting right here. So naturally, the lower back is going to hurt. And we can change that by just using the abs at half strength. So if I just give your abs a prompt right here and ask you to take a breath in, look straight ahead. Just take an easy breath in. And as you exhale, bring your abs in just halfway. Do you feel that? Just a subtle shift. And you can see it in your body. And so now all this weight is situated over your hips and it can go right down into your feet. The other thing you can do is just rotate your thumbs out, which opens up your chest, kind of settles the shoulders back. And then you can let your arms relax at your sides. And then you can either bring your chin straight in, or some people like to use the muscles in the back of the neck and just draw those back a little bit. So, and what that corrects is, most of the time, you know, so many of us are wearing our heads out ahead of our bodies. And for each inch that the head is out, it puts 10 pounds of pressure on the spine. So when you bring the head back and you just bring the abs in halfway, then all that weight can just go right down into your feet. So it's an easy thing to do, and you can practice it when you're standing, when you're waiting in line, when you're working in the kitchen. When you're gardening, it's a great thing to do because when you bring those abs in halfway, then the next day you don't have the back pain that you normally do.
Thank you. Thank you, Dee, for being a willing participant.
Thanks, dear.
So, Deborah, you want to come back and have a seat so we can wrap up?
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. We want to thank Dee for her cooperation in helping make our show a success. And also, if you had some words of wisdom that you'd like to share as we bring our show to a close that you would like to share with our viewing audience.
What I would share is that we look for happiness and joy externally. You know, we go to a concert,
yes.
We go to a movie, we go to all these things that we think, you know, that not that we think we like to do, that we love to do. For those moments when we go, oh, that was great, wasn't that wonderful? I feel so. But that thing that we're experiencing, it's not like it's reaching in and giving us those feelings. It's rather that we're allowing those feelings to come out.
Yes.
And we can rest in that all the time.
Wonderful.
That's it.
And I want to thank you, Deborah. Thank you for coming and being on my first show.
Thank you, Yemaja. It's, just what fun.
Yes.
What fun.
Yes.
It's fabulous.
And I want to thank you all for tuning in to us today. And we hope that you will join us again next week when we will have people to show you how to be fit, fun, and fabulous and have fabulosity. And one of the things that I like to leave with you, know that you are made of the good stuff. You're made of light and love and joy. It's already inherent in your soul. All you have to do is just be it. And let your light shine, be bright and luminous for everybody to see, and lead a blessed and magnificent life. Life is about having fun, people, okay? So let's have fun. Exuberate the joy that you are. Thank you so very, very much, and we look forward to seeing you next week, same time. Goodbye now.